everyone, welcome back to Biophilia, your all-time study mate. Today we are going to continue with the fifth part about this chapter, that is AIDS and cancer. If you like this video and get some help, then don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our amazing channel Biophilia. Today in our discussion we have the first disease about AIDS and the second will be about cancer. So first AIDS के बारे में डिटेल में पढ़ेंगे. So what is AIDS exactly? AIDS disease का नाम नहीं है. It is a short form and that long form will be acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. That is nothing but called as AIDS. So जैसे नाम है उसका full form है, it exactly means the same, that it is going to be a deficiency of immune system. So deficiency है यानी your body will not be able to fight against various kinds of pathogens जो आपके body में enter करेंगे. So it is a deficiency of immune system and it is going to be acquired during the lifetime. सो कब वो अक्वायर होगा? इट विल बी ड्यूरिंग द लाइफ टाइम, यानी वो आपके बर्थ के टाइम पे से नहीं होगा. इट विल नॉट बी स्टार्टिंग व्हेन यू आर इन द मदर्स वूम, बट इट विल बी अक्वायर्ड लेटर इन योर लाइफ टाइम. So that is the exact meaning about AIDS. That means it is not a congenital disease, यानी आपको birth के पहले से ये disease नहीं होगा. It will be reported afterwards. So AIDS का history क्या है? From where did it start? It has started from the first report that came in USA, which was amongst the homosexuals, yani either the both person who were in the sexual contacts, they might be two females or they might be two males, depends, because it is homo, that means same. And that was reported in 1981, and from that onwards there was a whole spread all over the world. और AIDS की वजह से it had been killing more than 25 million people. So that had been a ratio कि वो कितना जल्दी फैल रहा था. And even in India the infection had been detected, which was about 5 years later in 1986. So after all these, it was spreading all over and many people were getting infected and even it was killing. उसकी वजह से to give information to people about this disease was very important. So for that reason, there were many people, many NGOs who had been started working so that people could be educated about it और उनको उस चीज़ के बारे में बताया जा सकता है. So for that reason, later on, these were having some communities which started the World AIDS Day. So World AIDS Day में there was a group called as Visual AIDS. What was the group? It was called as Visual AIDS, जिन लोगों ने एक World AIDS Day के लिए red ribbon symbol choose किया गया था. Now why it was chosen as a red ribbon? Because red color has been chosen for connection to blood. So red is labeled to connect it to blood, and for that reason it was been chosen as red. And ribbon choose की गई थी because it was been inspired by yellow ribbons, which was honoring the American soldiers जिन लोगों ने गल्फ वॉर में फाइट किया था. So based on that inspiration, they chose it that the idea would be of the ribbon, but it will be red instead of yellow because red color connect करता है to blood, and even it will be a passion. It will be symbol of love. It can be a symbol like of Valentine. So it is going to spread because of your love of your Valentine, and it is connected to blood because it will spread through blood as well. So for that reason, the World AIDS Day also symbolizes a red ribbon which had been started by Visual AIDS so that it can be celebrated on 1st of December and many people can come across the information about this disease. So what is the causative agent of AIDS? AIDS किस वजह से फैलता है? First of all, it is being spreaded because of a virus, so it is a viral disease, and this virus is going to be called as HIV. So HIV का भी एक full form है, that is called as human immunodeficiency virus. So that will be HIV, and it was given the name in 1986 by the International Committee of Viral Nomenclature, that is ICVN. And this retrovirus has been belonging to, as it has an envelope and consisting of bilayer lipids, and it will be deriving from its host. So जो उसका envelope होगा, जो उसका coating होगा, वो कहाँ से लेगा? होस्ट सेल से लेगा. And then the projecting knobs, जैसे as you have heard about COVID-19 also has that, projecting knobs like structure. Even the AIDS virus is going to have that projecting knob like glycoprotein spikes, and that will be also formed by the virus. So उसका जो lipid bilayer होगा वो host से आएगा, and the projected spikes will be formed by the virus. And this entire structure is the outer one. जैसे ही आप ये वायरस के ये कोट के अंदर जाओगे, again you will find one more envelope which will be enclosing the RNA genome, that is its genetic material. So उसका क्या हो गया? This part is going to be its lipid bilayer which is going to be coming from the host. उसके ऊपर उसने अपने खुद के glycoprotein spikes like structure बना लिया है all over, which will be secreted by the virus itself. And then inside there will be one more layer, envelope, जिसके अंदर you are going to find the RNA genome. So ये येलो वाला जो होगा, it will be enclosing the RNA, और RNA के साथ you will be having a reverse transcriptase. So this reverse transcriptase is going to help for the replication of this virus. So in that the protein coat, यानी जो हमने सबसे बाहर वाला जो protein coat देखा है, that is going to be P17. The outermost यानी जो red वाला है, it is going to be made from P17, और जो अंदर वाला होगा, that is your yellow one, that will be the P24. So these are nothing but the protein codes that needs to be understood for the structure of HIV virus. So as we saw about the outermost layer of the HIV virus जो बनता है P17 protein से, उसके ऊपर you will be having some spikelets. So these spikelets are nothing but made up of glycoproteins, और ये glycoproteins जो होते हैं, these will be made from GP120 and GP41. So these are the names that you can remember to understand the structure of the HIV virus. Then this DNA that needs to be replication purposes, so how it will be formed? अभी genetic material HIV में तो RNA है, but RNA से for replication the DNA is to be prepared so that the replication, the multiplication of the virus can happen. So that will be done because of the reverse transcriptase. So this is going to function as normally, that when the DNA is going to undergo formation of RNA, it will be called as transcription, right? What is it called as? It is called as transcription. But now what do we want to do? We want to do the reverse process. We want to make DNA from RNA. So हमने क्या कर दिया process को? We have reversed it, and since we have reversed the process, you call it as reverse transcription, right? और reverse transcription process complete करने के लिए what enzyme do you need? You need the enzyme which is going to be reverse transcriptase. So that is going to help to form DNA, और जैसे ही viral DNA बन जाएगा, it will be accumulated inside the host DNA. So host DNA जैसे replicate करेगा, the viral DNA will also replicate. So by that process the multiplication of the viral DNA is going to occur, and until the time it is remaining dormant, you will have no signs of AIDS. आपको कुछ भी पता नहीं चलेगा that the virus has entered into your body, and once there are enough sufficient viruses, later on these symptoms will be slowly and gradually occurring into your body. So if viral infections कब start होगा? Viral infections, the symptoms will start to appear when a majority of the cells get infected. और वो majority में कौन से cells होते हैं? These cells are going to be the helper T lymphocytes. So helper T lymphocytes जब बहुत ज़्यादा numbers में infect हो जाएंगे, that is going to say that now you have been HIV positive. That means a lot many symptoms of AIDS has been started to appear into your body. So what is going to happen, the virus is going to attach to the CD4 receptor sites that are present onto the helper T lymphocytes. So helper T lymphocyte जो होगा, for example, this is your helper T lymphocyte, और helper T lymphocyte के ऊपर you might be having some receptors, और ये receptor का नाम है CD4 receptor. And similarly, as you know that even the glycoprotein site that is of the HIV is going to have that spikelet. So this spikelet and the CD4 receptors are going to connect to each other. So ये क्या था, ये जो अपना spikelet था HIV virus का, that will get connected and the CD4 receptors will get connected to each other, and that will help to attach the virus to the helper T cells, and by that way it will infect the helper T cells or replication में भी help करेगा. So later on these helper T cells will become the factories to manufacture more and more viruses. So in all these things, how is the HIV virus exactly going to enter into your body? So major infections are going to occur by major four forms. First form is going to be by the sexual contact of the infected person. So अगर वो infected है, then and then only it is going to be transmitted. Then the second method can be because of contaminated blood and blood products. Third can be by the infected needles, that is in the case when you are having intravenous drugs or intravenous medications that occurs in hospitals, even that can be the mode of transmission. And fourth will be from the infected mother to her child through placenta. So that way the virus can exactly come from the mother's womb into the newborn's child, and that would be the case जहाँ पे HIV will be starting from the birth itself. So what is going to be the people who are at risk? So people at risk are nothing but the people who are much more closer to the mode of transmission. So first of all, sexual contact with infected person अगर mode of transmission है, that means if the person who has multiple sex partners are going to be the person who are at high risk. Second, the mode of transmission is going to be by the contaminated blood products or even blood or infected syringes. So syringes जो ज़्यादा use करते हैं, that means the drug addicts who get drugs intravenously through IV lines, those are going to be much more at risk. Then you also see those who require a lot of blood transfusions. ऐसे कुछ diseases है wherein they need supply of blood regularly. Even those are at high risk, and even to the children who are born to HIV infected mother are going to be at high risk, because these are the people who are very well connected, very well known to the mode of transmission. So how are the people we finally diagnosed, finally confirmed कि अगर उनको symptoms नज़र आ रहे हैं that these symptoms are somewhat similar to AIDS, then how it will be confirmed that the presence of HIV is there in their body? So the diagnosis will be done through a test of AIDS that is called as enzyme linked immunosorbent assay, that is short form as ELISA. And ELISA को finally confirm करने के लिए Western blotting test will be done. So these are the two tests, that is one is ELISA and the second one is Western blotting test. So it is also very important to understand वो Western blotting test है, it is not Eastern, Northern or Southern, because even Southern blotting test is done, but here in AIDS we are going to consider only the Western blotting test. So that is going to be an important point to remember about the diagnostic tests. फिर अगर एक बार डायग्नोस हो चुका है पेशेंट that he is or she is positive for AIDS, then the treatment line will be that in the early cases it can be treated with antiretroviral drugs. Why it is retroviral? Because जो HIV virus है, it is going to come from a category of retroviruses. So HIV coming from retroviruses, you will be destroying them, so that is going to be antiretroviral drugs. which will be partially effective so that it can prolong the life of the patient. It is very important to understand it will prolong the life but cannot prevent death. Death तो होने वाली है, but जो death 5 years में आने वाली होगी, that can be increased to about say 7 years, or it can be extended to 10 years. So that is the case for the drugs or for the medications. It will not prevent death. ऐसे नहीं होगा कि वो person जिंदा रह जाएगा for to have its natural death. Death is confirmed, but it might come a few years later. So other drugs can be given, that is going to be the xenoviridin and AZT at the first, and later on that can also be continued for the treatment of AIDS. So very important to understand, just for the treatment line it is going to be partially effective. It is not final proof कि एक बार ये drugs ले लोगे then you will be out of it, because it is viruses, and viruses don't die, because these are not living, these are on the edge of living and being non-living. So it is not like bacteria कि आप antibiotics खा लोगे and you will be getting rid of those bacteria. So it needs to be understood very well. It will just prolong the life of the patient, but it cannot prevent death. Then how can you prevent death? Because AIDS जो है वो एक बार आने पे death is confirmed, because there is no cure for it. The only the thing that you can do is you can prevent it, and for the prevention you don't even have vaccines. So that is a strange thing. You don't have a cure, you don't have a vaccine, but only thing is you can prevent it by your own actions. So what can you do is you can have a proper blood testing, so that it can know that the जो blood transfusion होने वाला है that is being free from HIV virus, so that you do not contaminate it. Second you can do is you can use only disposable needles, so that you do not give a chance of mode of transmission कि वो used needles से या infected needles से from one person to another it is spreading. So the third thing you can do, you can distribute the contraception methods, so that from the people infected to healthy again it is stopped. You can control on drug abuse, because drugs which are taken from the intravenous lines, that can be a source of infection, so that needs to be stopped. Even you can promote regular checkups, so that susceptible population can be separated and they can be started their treatment at an early stage. And sixth people can be done is you can educate people, and once you educate people it will be very useful for the people to stay away from this disease. Then वर्ल्ड एड्स डे, एज आई टोल्ड यू, यू कैन ओनली प्रिवेंट एड्स. आप उसको एक बार होने के बाद यू कैन नॉट हैव अ फाइनल प्रूफ क्योर अबाउट इट. सो वर्ल्ड एड्स डे ऑन 1st of December हैज़ बीन दिस मोटिव कि ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोगों तक उसका मैसेज सेंड किया जाए. Many and more people can be educated, and that will help to reduce the risk and reduce the spread of this disease. And even for this, the national, that is the India's committee has been working, that is the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, and for AIDS a special body has been created, that is called as NACO, and it will be National AIDS Control Organization, जो बहुत सी बार on the World AIDS Day as well as other days they are trying to make people aware about this disease, make aware of the preventive causes and all that things that needs to be spreaded to lot many people. So World AIDS Day 1st December, and the the ministry that is working against it, that will be the Health and Family Welfare, and the sub topic about it will be the National AIDS Control Organization, that is NACO. So that was about the two extra things that you needed to know about AIDS. फिर आता है हमारा सेकंड topic about cancer, which is again a most deadly disease, and this disease is separate from AIDS, because AIDS जो होता है it is communicable, it can get transmitted from one person to another, but cancer is non-transmissible, it is not communicable. That means it cannot spread from one person to another, but even it cannot transmit from one person to another, it is going to be a major cause of death. So what is going to be different? Okay, generally you have studied that your body cells have undergone division, or division जैसे होता है, that is going to help in cell growth and cell division, so that is normal, right? But what is going to be that normal condition से कुछ अलग कि cancerous growth शुरू हो जाती है. So in cancer cells what is going to be changed, that is it will be having abnormal and uncontrolled division. सो जो होना चाहिए कि एक सेल जाके दो सेल्स बनाए, दो से आगे जाके चार बने, सो दैट प्रोसेस इज कॉल्ड एज नॉर्मल, राइट? सो इट इज हैविंग टेकिंग सम टाइम एंड दैट वुड बी अ नॉर्मल प्रोसेस. बस कैंसरस विल बी व्हाट इट विल बी डूइंग, एक से दो बन गए, दो से पता नहीं और कितने हो गए, एंड दैट विल बी अ वेरी रैपिड प्रोसेस. And this rapid process is nothing but seen in the case of cancer. So cancer is nothing but abnormal, that is not seen normally कि एक से सीधा चार बन गया, uncontrolled division. एक टाइम जाके it should be stopping, but it will not stop, it will just break all the regulatory mechanisms. So regulatory mechanisms क्या होते हैं, we have discussed in the chapter of cell cycle and cell division. So I will try to link the videos about it in the description box, and there you can see that how the various kinds of regulatory mechanisms are going to be present, wherein the cell undergoes mitosis or meiosis. So उस टाइम पे कुछ ऐसे regulatory processes होते हैं that is going to stop if there is some problem in the cell. सो इन द केस ऑफ कैंसर वैसे वो रेगुलेटरी बैरियर्स जो होंगे वो सारे ब्रेक करके, वेदर इट इज़ अ गुड सेल that is capable of division, or if it is not capable, still the division will occur, and that is nothing but the cancerous growth. So normal cells और cancerous cells में और एक अलग बात होती है, that is normal cells will show the property of contact inhibition. यानी अगर कोई डिवाइडिंग सेल्स किसी और के कांटेक्ट में आता है, सो दैट इज गोइंग टू शो कि अभी आपको डिवाइड नहीं करना है, देयर इज सम प्रॉब्लम. बट व्हाट विल हैपन इन द केस ऑफ कैंसरस सेल्स के पास कॉन्टैक्ट इनिबिशन की ये एबिलिटी नहीं है. सो इन दैट केस कैंसरस सेल्स आर जस्ट गोइंग टू कीप ऑन डिवाइडिंग. इट विल नॉट थिंक अबाउट कि बाजू वाले सेल के पास जगह है, या इज इट बीन एबल टू सर्वाइव, or something is faulting in me. There will be nothing such thinking, it will just keep on dividing, and that will give rise to a mass that will be called as neoplasm or tumors. So that is nothing but the basic thing that is different from the normal cells. First of all, it is abnormal and uncontrolled division, and second thing, it will lack the property of contact inhibition. So contact inhibitions normal cells में होगा, cancerous cells में नहीं होगा. Now what are the different types of tumors? So tumors हमने अभी देखा है that tumors are nothing but the mass of uncontrolled division of cells. So these tumors can either be benign है यानी they will remain confined to their original location and they will not spread to another parts, and since they are not spreading, they are localized at a particular point, they will be causing little damage. So during the benign tumors, if the operation has been done, if the mass has been removed, 99 cases the cancer does not repeat itself. But in the case of malignant tumors, what will happen? They possess a special ability that is called as neoplastic cells. So these neoplastic cells will be dividing and growing very rapidly. वो इधर से उधर उछल कूद मचाएंगे. They will be damaging, the destroying and everything of the normal tissues, and these will be extracting all the blood supply, all the nutrients to itself. और आजू बाजू के जो भी normal cells होंगे, they will be starving. So all the blood supply towards the malignant tissues, that is the neoplastic tissues, आजू बाजू के cells starve करेंगे, they will die, and only the living part will be the tumor. So that is the case in the malignant tumors. The cells of the tumors are going to reach to distinct site as well. So the transmission can be from blood and they can move all around your body. So हो सकता है कि आपके सबसे पहले body में you saw the tumor onto your hand, and hand पे से the tumor have been left. ट्यूमर तो है, हैंड का ट्यूमर भी साइज में बढ़ते जा रहा है, एंड सडनली यू नोटिस दैट इवन द ट्यूमर हैव स्टार्टेड ऑन टू योर लेग नाउ. So this is the condition of malignancy. That means you're having malignant tumor कि एक हाथ पे से दूसरे पैर पे भी शुरू हो चुका है, and that property of starting a new tumor from the original site जो distinct है, that is nothing but called as metastasis. So the property from where the tumor cells or the neoplastic cells are moving from one original place to another to form a new tumor is property of malignant tumors called as metastasis. जबकि benign tumors होंगे, benign tumors if you saw it onto your hand, they will be localized onto your hand, and once these have been removed they will not come back again, and that would be the case of benign tumors. So what are the causes of cancers? Cancer, as I told you, it will not spread from one person to another, but there are some other causes which are going to be as the physical agents. There can be reasons of chemical agents and even of the biological agents. So physical agents may, there can be some rays, ionizing rays, very important to understand. Ionizing rays में कौन से आएंगे? They will be the X-rays and the gamma rays, whereas the non-ionizing rays are going to be the rays like UV rays. So this is a very important question that arises a lot of time कि ionizing rays कौन से है और non-ionizing कौन से है. So that needs to be understood as the difference of the physical agents. So ये कोई भी रहे, तो ionizing हो या non-ionizing हो, finally they are going to do the DNA damage, और जैसे ही DNA डैमेज हो जाएगा, that can lead to neoplastic transformation, यानी the normal cells can turn violent to form into cancerous cells. Then the second cause can be of the chemical agents, wherein there are some chemicals called as carcinogens, यानी जो cancerous causing agents होते हैं, they will be called as carcinogenic agents, and these carcinogenic agents are going to be present in the tobacco smoke, and they can be the major source of or major cause of lung cancer. So you might have seen in the movies के start में it is written smoking kills, or all that things that comes into advertisements, all that is warning you about the chemical agents called as carcinogens. So what sort of cancers can be coming from the chemical agents? There can be agents that can be like cigarette smoke, yeah, mustard gas, nickel or chromium. All these can lead to lung cancers. The soot, coal tar, that can lead to skin and lung cancers. Then there can be cancers of cadmium oxide. Cadmium oxide की वजह से prostate cancers हो सकते हैं. It can also affect to liver, and all these are nothing but the chemical agents which are going to be causing cancers. The biological agents are going to be nothing but cancer causing viruses. So कुछ viruses ऐसे होते हैं that is going to cause cancers, and such viruses are called as oncogenic viruses. So these viruses are going to have some genes which are called as viral oncogenes, and these genes will be the responsible ones to cause cancerous growth. And this cellular oncogenes, जिनको बोला जाता है C-onc, that have been identified in the normal cell, then that will lead to the activation, and even once the normal cells get activated of these genes, they will lead into ontogenic or carcinogenic transformation of the cell. Yani originally by birth also you have the genes of this oncogenes, cellular oncogenes present होते हैं, even if you are not infected by these cancer causing viruses, but because of some internal changes that occurs, if these genes, that is the cellular oncogenes, get activated, then that can lead to the cancerous growth of the cells. Now how can you exactly detect the, or you can diagnose the cancerous growth? So cancerous growth कोई अगर lump दिखता है, and how will you differentiate that this lump is finally cancer? So the first thing that can be done is biopsy. That means you will take a piece of that particular tumor and you will place it under the microscope, or you will send it for sampling, और जहाँ से histopathology और biopsy technique से that can be identified of the cancerous growth. Second thing that can be done is blood and bone marrow test. So if it is related to the case of blood cancer, and then that case, that is the blood cancer called as leukemia. So leukemia के cases में the blood and blood marrow test can be done, and if there is a increased cell count, then that could be the case of leukemia. The third thing that can be done is radiography. So radiography में there are two things that can be done. The first one will be a CAT scan. CAT scan यानी computed topography. What is it going to be? The full form of CT scan. CT scan is going to be computed tomography, which is going to use X-rays and generate a 3D image. In this 3D image may you can understand that if there is a lump that is being seen or growing inside the body. The second machine or second technique that can be used is MRI, called as magnetic resonance imaging, and it is been using strong magnetic fields. So CT scan using X-rays, MRI using magnetic fields along with non-ionizing radiations, and that would be the two methods for the detection with the help of radiography. And the fourth method that can be used is antibodies against cancer specific antigens. So that can be the example of herceptin, which is going to be again used for the detection and diagnosis. Now, what are the different kinds of cancers? So first type of cancer is called as carcinomas. So carcinomas जो होते हैं, these are malignant growths of the epithelial tissue. So epithelial tissue कहाँ कहाँ पे हो सकते हैं? These can be the coverings or the linings of the body, and this can originate from the ecto or the endoderm. So it can be a skin cancer, it can be a breast cancer, cancer of stomach or pancreas. Wherever there is going to be the coating of epithelial tissues, there can be a chance of malignant growths that are called as carcinomas. Second can be the sarcomas, which are again malignant growths, and that would be arising from the tissues which are derived from primitive mesoderm. So mesoderm, that is related to sarcomas. The ecto or endo will be related to carcinomas. So sarcomas जो होते हैं, that is going to be the type of bone tumors or fat or cartilage tumors. The third can be lymphomas or leukemias. So lymphomas or leukemias are going to be the result of unchecked proliferation, and that is related to blood or precursors of bone marrow. So that is nothing but a kind of blood cancer. The fourth kind can be a melanoma, which is because of the melanin pigment. So melanin pigment cells अगर बहुत ज़्यादा develop करने लगते हैं, that is going to result in a malignant melanoma, and that is the fourth type of cancer. Fifth can be adenoma. So adenoma is because of the cancer of glands. So glands like salivary glands, thyroid gland or any other gland, उसका अगर cancer है, that would be classified as adenoma. Then sixth one will be glioma, which is going to be the cancer of glial cells of the central nervous system. So glial cells you very well know of the CNS. So अगर उन लोगों का वो cells का अगर uncontrolled division होना शुरू हो जाएगा, that will lead to the cancer type that is glioma. So you can see the different kinds of cancer cells that are growing onto these images, that will help you to differentiate between sarcomas, the carcinomas and the melanomas. So melanomas pigment cells ज़्यादा डेवलप होने लगते हैं, that will leave to a darker patch onto your skin than the rest of the skin color. So understanding about all the different types of cancers and how cancers are going to be caused, what can be done if the person has cancer? So treatment में there can be four options that can be done. So first is going to be a surgery, जो generally benign tumors में is the best option. So benign tumors है, you remove it, and most of the times they don't repeat or they don't bounce back to show some growth. So surgery is best for those. Second can be done is radiotherapy or radiation therapy, in which the person is subjected to gamma radiations, and the tumor cells are going to be not being able to survive because of those gamma radiations, and the rest of the normal cells will not be affected. Only the tumor cells or neoplasm is going to be affected because of these gamma radiations. So majority of the time there is a use of iodine, that is 131, for the thyroid cancers in the radiotherapy. Third होता है chemotherapy, wherein chemotherapy means the use of chemicals, use of drugs. So two drugs which have been used for treating cancers, and that would be majority cases used for treatment of leukemia, and that would be arising from a common weed. So weed से भी you can obtain the anti-cancer drugs, and these drugs are majority having side effects, because जो लोगों को आपने देखा है that these are having chemotherapies, they lose their hair, they become bald, and they also become anemic because of the side effects of these drugs. So these drugs are going to help for cancerous growth to get suppressed, but उसके side effects होंगे कि बाल झड़ना शुरू हो जाएगा, even there might be loss of blood, that is nothing but anemic conditions. The fourth is going to be immunotherapy, wherein sometimes the tumor cells are they are seen, but they are avoiding detection, or they are destructing your immune system. So in that cases the patients are going to be given the interferons. So as you have seen in the previous video of this chapter as well, that whenever there is going to be any sort of viral infections may there is going to be release of the interferons by the infected cells, so that the non-infected cells can be prevented. So in that case the person who has this kinds of tumor cells, they will be given in excess of interferons, that will be helping to destroying tumor and also activate their immune systems, so that naturally आपकी body वो tumor cells के खिलाफ fight करेगी. So that was all about the diseases that we had to discuss about the AIDS and the cancer. So if this video was helpful for you to understand and remember the concepts by help of various diagrams and the things that were discussed, so don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our amazing channel. That will be very beneficial for increasing our family to many more subscribers. So till the time we come back soon, keep studying, keep smiling. Bye bye everyone. Thank you.